Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dr. Unique. I'm a Nigerian trained medical doctor currently practicing in the UK. You're welcome back if you're one of those that love me despite my flaws, okay? Or today is your very first time coming across my channel. I want you to know that I appreciate you coming back here. I still remain that particular doctor that is passionate in sharing whatever information she has for the good and what fulfillment and better decision of her user. So I just want to give you a very warm welcome and say you are in the right place, okay? Now, I want to title this video, okay, comparing NHS NES part 2. Okay, in my previous video where I made comparison between NHS and NES, I had some matters arising from that video, some questions and some things I promised to shoot another video regarding them to make that video complete. Okay, just to start this way, if you haven't seen that video, you may want to see that video because that is this video just like a continuation of that particular video. Okay, starting from the last one of the last statement I made in that video about after PLAB 2 you become a junior doctor. The truth is that PLAB 2 is an exam that is a kind of an exam that is standard of a final year medical student in the UK. And after taking PLAB 2 examination, it's assumed that you are passing to be a junior doctor. But however, it's been heard that I gathered some information after that video, okay, from some of our senior colleagues who has gone through this part that so many people have written PLAB 2 and use it to get more senior posts in the UK. This does not change the fact that after PLAB 2, that PLAB 2 is a kind of a final year medical student exam in the UK, and most people after PLAB 2 are just qualified to be a junior doctor. But if you've had an experience like, or you're a consultant in Nigeria, the good news I want to share with you in this video is that so many consultants that have a whole lot of experiences, though, use PLAB 2 to get GMC registration, because yes, indeed, what PLAB 2 does for you is that it helps you to get GMC registration. So once you've gotten your GMC registration, people that have started residency in the outside the UK or abroad in Nigeria, you've done residency, maybe let's say, especially for internal medicine, you've done residency for more than 2 years, can apply for higher position, or even if you just started residency, can apply for higher position and get a middle grade post, come in here, maybe you do MRCP and then go into training. But the point is this: I've had some first-hand discussion with some Nigerian consultant that came into the UK. I particularly knew one that was from surgery. He came in through the MRCS route. He told me first-handedly that when he came into the UK, due to the fact that most surgeries that are being done in the UK, he couldn't cope with them. He couldn't cope with the residency he came directly to do. He had to apply to his department to allow him do the FY1 rotation to enable him get used to what is happening in his department before he enters into his middle grade position. So whether we like it or we don't like it, the UK is totally different from abroad. It's not, I don't mean in my video or to maybe to derogate anybody or make you feel bad. Neither have I said that maybe the consultancy position you are holding in Nigeria does not make a change. It's not what it means. As a matter of fact, if you're a consultant in Nigeria and you are coming here with a middle grade position, aside maybe learning the apps, like the apps used to enter information, document note and all that in the department, in terms of seeing patients, you may be more comfortable with so many things. Even though, like in Nigeria, some cases we are very certain and very common in seeing in Nigeria might not be the same, but you may have higher tendency to cope faster than a very junior doctor who just did PLAB 2 like you. So I don't mean to maybe say anybody is maybe bring down anybody or bruise anybody ego, but this is the reality. We all know that when you are coming here, all those pride in Nigeria as a consultant will have to be dropped behind. You come in here and you are starting, but I want you to know that this is really a good news, because I didn't know that so many people who are actually consultants in Nigeria can still come into the UK, start with middle grade, and even go, some people even come in as a locum consultant. One of our colleagues during the discussion that arose from that particular video, one of the doctors group I belong to, even said that he had a consultant that came in here with a locum consultant job and still work as a consultant, but then locum because he hasn't maybe been qualified in the UK as a consultant. So I want you to know that if you are a consultant, this is a good news for you. Have you been discouraged before because you don't want to just come in here and be a junior doctor? Please still do your PLAB OET or IELTS, PLAB 1 and PLAB 2, and still come in and still apply for positions, higher positions. However, another thing I want you to know is this: job search is very challenging. Most times after doing all these exams, when you go to the job search market, they are looking for NHS experience. That may be a drawback for you, but package yourself very well, package your CV very well, and I believe that the best awaits for you out there. So let's go straight to the things I want to share in this video so it doesn't get so so long. Another point also that arose from that video I wanted to address is this. When I talk about life being taken serious in the UK, I don't mean to talk bad about my home country. Everybody that know me, that is very close to me, know how much I value Nigeria. Even our food, I miss it. And people that are very close to me know that most of the times I feel and I wish that there is better, or that the home back home offered me better. I am not a fan of abroad to talk down on Nigeria, but the truth remains the same. Life is very valuable here. See, when my bleep bleeps because someone have us over and I am running, the kind of runs I've had to run here, I have never run it in Nigeria. The little time I practice, life is very valuable here, and life is taken more serious. It is better we know it. It is true that we don't need to argue it. I don't mean to say that derogate or to talk bad about my home country, but that is the honest truth. Life is more valuable here, and mistakes, medical mistakes, are taken more serious abroad than in Nigeria. Throughout the time I'm in Nigeria, it is only once in a very long while that you hear of a legal case, that traumatized doctors and other. But when I practiced in Saudi Arabia, almost in the department I was in that particular department, I saw doctors going to court as frequent as possible. Okay, in the UK, being that UK has a kind of so much guidelines, there are legal cases, but it may not be as bad as it is back home. But one thing I know, I have seen and I've experienced is that life is very, very valuable here. It's not that we don't value life in Nigeria, but trust me, we don't. If we kill ourselves back home, that doesn't show that we value life. If we can't invest in money in healthcare, that doesn't show that we have value for human life back home. But we can come here, learn the good things about this system, and those of us that want to go back home like me, when we go back home, we can make things better. It is the sad reality and a sad truth, but that's how home is. So please, I've not even started talking about CV. It's already 7 minutes. So I just wanted to buttress some of those points because so many people raised that up. Okay. Now, what I want to do in this video, like some of the questions that some of our colleagues asked, someone asked me and said, how long will you be do you want to be in NES, and do salaries appreciate? My dear, yes, there is what is called enhanced RMO contract, and after your first contract, you can start applying for that, but there is no guarantee that NES is going to increase your salary. There is just no guarantee about that, okay? No guarantee about that. And however, in terms of career progression also, like I said earlier in my previous video, there is no career progression in the NES. So you may have to look into all these things before making your decision. No career guarantee, and you don't have any guarantee that NES will increase your salary, but it is possible to bargain for a better contract after the first one. That's number 1 point. The number 2 point question that came up was from one of our ladies. Ladies, totally to you guys. I give you guys thumbs up. Ladies have double things to deal with. We have our family to worry. And yes, that affects you choosing RMOI or NES job, because most times the rotas are 1 week in, 1 week out, and you can't just leave your babies and live in the hospitals. However, NES also offer ABCD, that's 12-hour week 1, week 2 you go off, and the 3rd week you still maybe come for work, maybe night, do day this week. In the 3rd week after your off week, you do night. So you could apply for that, but it may take a little more time. But NES offer ABCD, so you could get your contract with them, get job with them, and tell them what you want. That's about that particular question. Then the next one is about the CV. NES offer psychiatric position, medical position, and surgical position. But surgical position is very popular because they have a lot of surgical hospitals. Okay, so for surgical position, you need a dedicated 6 months experience in general surgery. Okay, and then you also need to also say that you have some surgical experiences, which all of them should amount to about 18 months. Okay, so dedicated 6 month experience. Then others in general surgery, others can be through the rotation of all other surgical departments. Okay, so that's for surgical. Then for psychiatry, is also dedicated 6 month experience in psychiatry, another background in psychiatry. And also medical is also dedicated 6 months medical experience. Okay, however, the position I know that is very popular to get is usually the surgical position and the psychiatric position. Currently, few of my colleagues that apply for medical said that NES said they don't have medical position. So that's about that. Now, I want you to know something. Many people tweak their CV to fit in this. I don't want to say so many things because this is a public video, but we can have a private chat about that. You mustn't have that. There's always a way to go about it. But one thing is that the job here is just like a house officer job, and I trust you can do it. Cannulation, reviewing patient, and all that is something you can do. So you could really try to make your CV to fit that. You understand what I mean, right? Yeah. So you just gonna find a way to make you fit to the requirement, and trust me, it's something you can do. Moreover, the ALS, ILS, and EPAL that are required for practice to practice in NES, NES is going to organize the courses for you here in UK. So I think you can do that. Okay. So remember the CV requirement and follow that in formulating your CV. Then the next thing is about RMOI. They also do mainly with surgery, and they need a 6 month dedicated experience in surgery, then spread other experiences, both medical and surgery. When you finally get maybe an interview slot, Dr. Trefler is usually very interested in ECGs, and you should be able to study ECGs very well in order for you to ace the interview. Now, for Cape Med usually prefer A&S, accident and emergency experiences, and they offer people their CVs is usually bias in accident and emergency. Now, there's something about applying for job in the UK, both in NHS, applying for NHS and NES job. I noticed that most UK people prefer that the current job you are doing is the job you are applying for. Meaning that if you're applying for surgical job, your current position, your CV description should be lauding more of those your surgical participants. Okay, yeah. So that's what I've noticed with applying for jobs in UK. Let your current job somehow marry or at least get close to what you apply. Allow the skills that are related to what that position is doing in all part of your CV, especially in your current job. So that's about the CV requirement. Now, one thing about the private organizations is that most times, like the NES is an organization that has already been known. Nigerians know them very well because so many Nigerians are coming into the UK. They have their own challenges, and how to cope is a tip that each and every one of us should gather. One of the ways I noticed that you will cope with any health job, any of the private job, is this: use me as I use you. Do you understand? There is something that these organizations have that you do not have and you need it. That is the COS, the Type 2 visa, the visa to come in here with your family. So they will use you when you come down here. Trust me, you are coming here to work. Yes, I know some guys that work in NES, work in Shilling Hospital, but people like me, I know this week what I've been through at work, really. So sometimes the hospitals can be hectic. And again, the work of 1 week in, 1 week out, 1 week out, you are living in the hospital. It's your license that is being used to admit patients and keep them in the hospital because there's an RMO. So they are using you to make their money and keep their hospital rolling and all that. And they may not have much of your welfare and all that at hand. At the same time, you use them also. What would you use them to do? If you're a single guy and you are NES is one of the ways to make quickest money, and all these private organizations, because you got those doing 2 week in, 2 week out have got 2 weeks in a month, 2 complete straight week. Those doing 1 week even have also got 2 weeks, but though in a divided way, 1 week in, 1 week out, 1 week in, 1 week out. There are 4 weeks, averagely 4 weeks in a month. So you still got your 2 weeks. These 2 weeks you can use it to do a lot of things in the UK. When I came in here, that very first time I came in here, my dear, I needed money to sort off so many debts, and I did back-to-back locum. And by the time I received my salary July ending, I was done with all those debts. So you use them. You just make up your mind that yes, I've come in here for something. Try and study very hard so you can have information at hand, and okay, always escalate, seek information. We have NES group. There are RMO groups that you can belong to. You can ask questions. Make sure you do not get into trouble. Okay, always willing to. I don't massage my pride. Yes, it is better I feel ashamed that I do not know something. Okay, I prefer to feel ashamed that I do not know something than to put patient at risk and put my license and my visa at risk. That's my own way. That is the most critical way and critical method to survive in the UK, survive with RMOI job. Do not put anybody at risk because you want to maybe protect your pride. Let it not be that you don't know. Always ask, always ask, always ask. If you are too ashamed to ask maybe a senior. You can ask your colleagues in a WhatsApp group, like in my own WhatsApp group. We share ECGs and ask questions. there was a complaint that was raised about me the first time I came in here, and that was because I signed all the ECG. I sent them to anesthetists. Yes, then I wasn't too good with ECG. Remember, back home we don't do so much ECGs, and even when I worked in Saudi Arabia, I did more of O and G. I wasn't exposed so much to ECG. So here, aside the trainings I've done, I am not too good in ECG. So the initial time, once I see that I will see sinus reading, but once I see any peckering in the ECG, my dear, escalate, I will just write to anesthetist. So the first hospital I work, luckily it wasn't my primary hospital anyway. So the first hospital I work, I know they wrote to my agency about ECGs, and my agency were complaining. And I told them I'm sorry, but the anesthetists should understand that I'm not a cardiologist, and I saw abnormalities in those things. They may not be abnormalities capable of stopping surgery, but I saw them as abnormalities. So I took more trainings on ECG, and that helped me. So you may need some training if you are working in a place you are not doing cannulation in Nigeria, maybe radiology and other. You may do some extra training about that. But in some, Nigerians, we are very Nigerian, and most Africans are very smart. If you come in here, you can always. I know the vacutainer, the easiest person, the doctor I shadowed, actually, he showed me how to do all those things. But the person I learned the tricky and the most tricky way to use a vacutainer was a nurse. So always calm down, forget about pride. By the time you become very competent in the job, everybody will respect you. Now, in my hospital, despite some of the challenges I had the initial time I came, my hospital value me now as someone very, very precious, because when emergencies arise and things that made me a doctor, I represent. So I want you to know that initial time when you come in newly, adaptation can be difficult, but you don't have to worry yourself. You're going to go. This video is getting too long, almost more than 15 minutes. So if you are coming across my channel for the very first time, I don't know if you love my content. If you love this content and you want to keep watching more of my videos, kindly subscribe to my channel. Remember, in this channel, I do not do only medical videos. I do family videos, and I do some other videos. I'm telling you, the spirit is going to come back for those ones. I know why it's a bit down now. I do videos on general things about lifestyle. I do videos on medicine. I do video on relocation. Please kindly subscribe to my channel and click on the notification bell so that you can always get my video. Thank you so much for coming by. Bye bye.